Listen, let me tell you something about this dish right here.
Have you ever went in the kitchen and seen nothing and still made something and it became scrumptious?
Welcome to Carmel's Wine and Cheese, you guys. So in today's video, what I'm going to be making is a stuffed blackened salmon, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is make the stuffing that's going to go inside. Now this is the most complex part of the dish because it has about 10 ingredients in it. But I'm telling you, it is so very much worth it, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is get some room temperature cream cheese, okay? Then I'm going to add some lemon juice in there, okay, for that little tang. Then I'm gonna go ahead and add 1/2 of a large jalapeno. Now I'm gonna deseed mine. I don't know if that's a word, but I'm gonna go ahead and use it right here anyway. I'm gonna deseed mine, but if you want to, you can leave the seeds in there to give it a spice. I've never made it like that, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be just as good with just a little kick, okay? So the next thing I'm gonna do is dice up some red onion. Now before y'all go to wine and talk about I done threw a lot of the red onion away, it don't even matter because I'm gonna use that red onion for another dish. Now the next thing I'm gonna do is go ahead and mince up or cut up some fresh parsley. And before y'all go to whine about how I bruised the parsley, listen, I don't care, it's gonna taste good regardless, okay? And now I'm gonna add those sun-dried tomatoes in there. Now these sun-dried tomatoes, these things is busting, okay? So next I'm gonna go ahead and add some mozzarella cheese in there and I'm gonna mix it up. Now the reason you want to use the room temperature cream cheese is because it makes it easier to mix. Now if you would have used cold cream cheese, it would have been like trying to mix up bricks with a stick. So I'm gonna mix that up real nice and good. Now I didn't show this part, but I did add salt and pepper, and that is a very crucial part to this cream cheese stuffing because I don't know, it just gives it that extra flavor, makes it better. Please put the salt and pepper in there, you guys, because it's not going to taste the same without it. So then I'm gonna go ahead and cover this up and stick it back in the refrigerator to let it stiffen up a bit. Now let's go ahead and make the salmon. Now we are going to make the salmon next. So I don't remember the weight of this salmon, but you just want to make sure you get a real nice and thick, okay, thick like me. Nah, I'm just kidding, but you want to make sure you get a real thick piece of salmon because this salmon is going to be butterflied. And to make sure that the stuffing holes in there, you want to make sure your salmon is thick. Now the first thing I did was wash this salmon. I didn't show it, but I did wash this salmon with cold water and I patted it dry. And now that we got that salmon butterfly, we're just gonna go ahead and add that stuffing right in the center. I'm gonna add as much as I can in there without it overflowing because we don't want the cream cheese to be spilling and burning. And after that's stuffed, I'm gonna go ahead and get a tray and I'm gonna cover that with aluminum foil and we're gonna season the salmon. Now the seasoning for this salmon is real simple. I'm gonna just hit it with some olive oil, then I'm gonna season it with some Zatarain's blackened seasoning. Now listen, now hold on, cause I use this Zatarain seasoning a lot and I'm gonna need for them to cut me a check because I'm advertising for them. But anyway, the Zatarain seasoning is super good and you want to make sure you cover that salmon with the Zatarain seasoning nice and even. And then I'm gonna hit it with the garlic powder and I'm gonna seal it up with some toothpicks, okay? So now let's go over and cook this baby. So in a large saute pan, I'm gonna turn that on to medium high heat and then I'm gonna add all 4 pieces of salmon in that pan. Now you want to make sure that you put the skin side down first, okay? The skin side down first. And I'm gonna let that salmon cook for about 4 to 5 minutes on that skin side. And then I'm going to flip it over on its sides because this salmon is pretty thick. Now normally if the salmon is thin, I won't do that, but in this case, this salmon is not thin, so I am going to cook it on the sides. And after letting that cook on the side for about 4 minutes, I'm going to flip it over to the fleshy side, and I'm going to let that cook for an additional 4 minutes. Alright, so after about a total of 10 minutes of cook time, I am going to put this in the oven at 350 degrees, and I'm going to let it cook for about 7 to 10 minutes depending on what temperature you want your salmon. I like mine medium well, so I cook mine for about 7 minutes in the oven. So now I'm going to go ahead and plate this with the wine glass. Listen, y'all, I don't even drink wine. Okay, I'm just fascinated with the wine making process. So I'm going to plate that with some roasted Brussels sprouts and tomatoes, some sour cream mashed potatoes, and the salmon. And look at that. Let me tell y'all something. This was so good, okay?